Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Sayyid FAROOQ HASAN is back with a new episode of Sky is the Limit. There is no dearth of courageous women in our country. We have a lot of national heroes. We hear of success stories every day. But today I am sitting with a very decorated officer of Police Service of Pakistan who has a lot of firsts to her credit. I am sitting with Helena Saeed, Tamgha Imtiaz, who has the honor of being the first female police officer in Police Service of Pakistan. Let's talk to Helena. Assalamu alaikum, Helena.
Wa alaikum assalam, FAROOQ, how are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. Thank you so very much for giving us time. You've got such a lovely house.
Thank you.
And thank you for your lovely hospitality. I can't thank you enough. Helena, you've done a lot of firsts. I've been following your career path. When you were in Police Service of Pakistan, the first police female officer in officer rank, donning the police uniform, serving at different positions. It was, it was something different for the people of Pakistan. We weren't used to seeing female police officers in officer rank. But and you were an inspiration. You are an inspiration to so many young girls who are now, they are serving in different positions in Pakistan. But tell me, where did this journey start from? I believe you hail from Balochistan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And Balochistan is probably not one of those most advanced places in Pakistan where you would see female police officers coming in PSP.
Yes, undoubtedly so. But I think this is also a misconception. Balochistan has bred some really brilliant people.
Absolutely.
I belong to Balochistan.
Okay.
My father was a bureaucrat.
Okay.
My grandfather was a bureaucrat. I am a third generation bureaucrat.
Okay. And your mother, you were telling me?
Yes, my mother read the first English bulletin from Quetta PTV when it was established.
Wow. And at that time there was only one channel which was PTV.
Yeah, it was much better that way rather than having a plethora of channels. Anyway, so I'm from...
So you were born in Quetta?
No, I was not. Yes, I was born in Quetta.
Okay.
And then because my father was in the government service, we moved a lot. And say about in 9 years, we changed 13 schools.
Okay.
Sometimes we would land up in the middle of the session, sometimes in the beginning, or sometimes right at the end of the session.
Okay.
Anyway.
So were you a brilliant student, like you would cope up with?
Not at all. I hated studying.
Okay.
I liked reading.
Okay.
But I did not like the compulsion of exams and studying. People like me, basically people who, they are off the beaten track. They come up with these, they're not typical, stereotypical people.
Okay.
Anyway, I went to school in Quetta. My early education was in Quetta.
Quetta. Which school?
St. Joseph's Convent.
St. Joseph's Convent.
Yeah.
Okay.
We used to have missionaries then.
Yeah.
And then we had nuns, and there was a lot of grooming then. Then I went to school in Karachi. I went to school, except for Peshawar, I've been to school everywhere in Pakistan.
Wow. And were you the eldest of the siblings?
Yes.
How many siblings
There's
you have?
just myself and my younger brother.
Okay.
I was a tomboy when I was a child. I loved guns.
Okay.
I used to cycle everywhere.
Okay.
And most of my brother's friends were scared of me because my brother's younger than me.
Okay.
So in Karachi, they used to see this girl roaming around with an air gun in her hand. Or sometimes
looking for targets.
Yeah, looking. And I was on a cycle mostly.
Okay.
And I would climb trees. I was like that.
Okay.
And the best part is, FAROOQ, that when I was growing up, I did not know that there is something called gender.
Okay.
I and my parents, they never sort of, told us that you can do this, you can't do that. So I sort of assumed that I could do everything.
Anything and everything.
Yes. And that is the reason why you see me today, that I was in the police service, because I never thought that I cannot do it. I thought I can do everything.
Okay. So tell me about your initial days. Like, were you good in sports?
Not at all. Sports in the sense, FAROOQ, I loved cycling.
Okay.
I liked my gun.
Okay.
And that was it.
No running, athletics?
No, because I was hot-tempered, I probably land up hitting somebody. So I,
What about cricket, basketball,
No,
table
none of those.
tennis?
None of those.
None of those.
No, no,
You're
no.
not
Just
interested.
guns and cycles.
Okay.
Guns
And studies never fascinated you?
No, but I was not a
You
dud.
used to read?
I was intelligent. I
Okay.
liked reading.
Okay.
In fact, eventually I did my master's in English literature from University of Punjab.
MashaAllah. Okay.
ठीक है ना?
All right.
Then my father said, "Ke, all right, one child has to go into the civil service
So then
to
you
follow his footsteps."
and you
So
landed up there.
I
But
landed.
before we go there, you just tell me. So during your school days, I'm sure in those days there was a lot of pressure on children from parents to study.
Yes,
You know,
there
I
was.
remember they were very strict
Yeah,
about
there
it.
were- there
So
was.
your parents were cool about it. They were
No,
okay.
no, they weren't cool about it. I remember I did my metric. First I was in the Cambridge because he was posted so many times. Eventually I had to shift to metric. So when I did my metric, I went up to my father and I said, "Ki ji, I've done a lot of studies. So can I stop studying?" He said, yes, of course. And then he enrolled me into I went into FA. After my FA, I went back to him. I said, "Can I stop studying now?"
Enough.
He said, "No." Then I went, BA. I did my BA and then I did a BA again in literature as well.
Okay.
And then MA.
Okay.
And then I said,
I've had enough.
Yes, I've studied a lot. He says, "No, now you have to give the CSS exam."
So an individual, a student who's not very fond of studies,
not at all,
like
not at all,
like
not at all.
syllabus and all,
No.
ends up giving the most toughest exam in Pakistan.
And the fun part is
How did
not
that
fun
happen?
at all. Actually, the funny part is, FAROOQ, that when I joined service, I thought, well, CSS is my last exam. I did not know that I had to go and do my mid-career training.
MCMC.
I did my NDU, my war course from National Defense University,
yeah.
2016, 2017. That was.
Okay.
And we used to have loads of presentations.
I know,
which we
it's a
had.
very tough schedule there.
And I said, my God, why am I still studying at this age? It's a bad example for the youth, but this is how it is.
No, but what that points out is that if you are not that good in your studies, is not an surety that you can't make it big.
Look at all the successful people. I'm not saying that look at Jack Ma, they've just dropped out of school.
Yeah, so
and they've come out with multi-million-dollar businesses.
yeah, academics do matter, but there are a lot of other things in
I
life.
think we need to change the way we look at academics.
Yeah. It has to be most pragmatic
academics also needs to evolve.
with time.
Yes.
Great. You did your O levels?
Partially because of too many postings, I had to eventually shift to my metric. Then
okay.
FA and BA and MA and so on.
And where did you do your intermediate from?
I think half of it from Islamabad and half of it from Karachi.
Okay. And what were your subjects like?
I had, thanks to my father, I had economics,
Okay.
statistics,
Okay.
political science.
And out of these three, which were your favorite? Which one was
None.
it? Okay.
And then I went into English
But
literature.
you passed well.
Obviously,
like you got good marks.
obviously.
Okay. And then after
I wouldn't say excellent, but I passed.
Okay. And then after that you
And after that, then I did my bachelor's, and then I
in which subjects? Economics?
same.
Okay.
And then I decided that maybe English is the easiest because we used to speak English at home. And I thought, like an idiot, I thought, well, there's nothing to masters, just speak a lot of
Yeah,
English.
that's it.
When I went there, it was very extensive. They had a lot of painters and
In Punjab University,
Punjab University,
masters in English.
English literature.
And you had Naveed Shahzad.
I had Naveed Shahzad, Shaista Sonu as my teachers, wonderful teachers.
Yes, absolutely.
I've been
I
blessed with very good teachers, and especially those teachers who used to believe, there's a word in Urdu called Talim or Tarbiyat.
Yes.
Only education is not enough.
Yes.
So they used to mold you as human beings as well.
Character building.
Yes, character building.
Okay, so after you did your masters, CSS is still the most toughest exam in Pakistan, and usually people say that you have to study for years and years. If not that, at least 1 year, totally you have to give to CSS. Do you believe that? How much did you study?
Not that much,
Okay.
because I went to Qaid-e-Azam library in Lahore. I read all the books except for my course books.
Okay.
I took out all the books from the shelves and started reading them. Random information. I love reading random information.
Okay.
And then, then you can imagine how I fared.
Fair enough.
Anyway, I think what you need now is smart learning.
Smart learning, yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, because once upon a time we decided that I have to give my IELTS exam. You know, the English one.
Yeah, English
because
test.
we decided we want to, move to some other country. Luckily, we were not given that. They told us, you're too old, you can't come here. And my husband and I both studied for it, and I got an 8 in the first go because I sort of understood the technique of the exam.
Ah, so you are more pragmatic,
Yeah,
not theoretical, more pragmatic.
yeah.
Okay. So for CSS, how much did you study?
Not that much. I should have studied more, but
you could have studied
Yeah,
more.
I could have. My edge was that my English was much better. I wrote well, so
You were expressive.
I was expressive, and obviously my spellings were good as well.
Was there any pressure on you that, like probably I haven't studied enough for this exam, maybe I won't
No,
be
I
able
was going through a personal tragedy at that time.
Okay, okay, so you didn't have time to
I did
think
not
enough.
register anything, which is good.
You just went through it
I just went
in
through
the stride.
Yeah.
And God forbid if
But what I did study was, for when I was now posted as police commissioner for the UN, I had to study for that interview.
in Sudan.
No, in Pakistan, because the interview was online.
Ah, okay.
So then I was selected out of, globally, I was selected. And in my first go, I applied for a D1 position, and I got it.
And
That
for
was my
that
first.
you studied.
Yeah, obviously.
So you remember that's the first thing you actually
Yeah,
studied
yeah,
in
yeah,
life.
yeah. No, I studied a lot for my NDU as well.
And you are,
Oh, yes.
that's
a lot of
topic,
studies. Lot of studies.
So basically, if you hadn't made it to CSS, like if you hadn't cleared it, what would you have been doing? What do you think?
I have no idea.
You would have been a teacher or a...
No. I come up with, my mind works in a weird way.
Okay.
So I don't know what, I would have been a cosmetologist. When I told my dad, then I said I want to do things about,
Study of
skin.
stars.
No,
Achha,
skin.
Okay.
Not,
okay,
that's
okay.
astrology. I said, and obviously in those days he was a government servant, he didn't have enough money to send me to America. And that is when now you have skin clinics under every rock.
Yes.
Nobody had even heard of the word skin.
Cosmetic surgery
Then,
is the...
that was in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I did my master's in 85. That
okay.
is, that is when I said, and
Okay.
my dad said no.
So you clear your CSS, everyone is happy, your parents are happy.
No, I'm not happy because my father filled my forms,
Okay.
CSS, and he wrote foreign service.
Okay.
And I belong to that generation where you don't question your parents.
Yes.
I have to work,
Okay.
but he's filling in all the choices.
Okay.
And there was no police service in that, so I went to foreign service and I stayed there in
For
the
5
foreign
years,
for 3 years. And
91 to 96? 91 to 95?
No. It was 93 to 92, 93 to 96.
Okay. Okay.
And I said, what am I doing here?
Okay. Okay. After 5 years, 4 years
Oh, my.
of serving.
And then by that time, FAROOQ, the women police stations had come up. I was aware of workings of the police station by some personal reasons. And then I decided one day, I said, well, women police stations are there, and Benazir was the prime minister then.
Okay.
And I
Mahatma
decided
Gandhi.
I want to go to the police service.
It was a well thought out
No,
idea?
nothing
or
was ever well thought out in my...
just impulse?
This is how God works, in
Okay.
mysterious way.
Yeah.
So I applied for it, and everybody was shocked. High ups kept on calling me, and they said, okay, look, go and join the DMG, because there was a rule where from the foreign service you could go, but not vice versa.
So it was not like you had to give another CSS exam?
No,
You
not
could
at all.
get
No,
induction
I
in
could have
another.
gone. Yeah, it was not induction. I just sort of reassigned myself. And everybody was shocked. They took months because
decide.
they had, yes. And I said, why are you people shocked? Because we have women police stations, we have constabulary, but we don't have officers. And they said, no. I said, after a lot of struggle, we convinced them, they decided, all right. Then came the struggle of what uniform are you going to wear?
Okay.
Will you wear a sari? I said, how can I wear a sari? In a jeep, I have to look after law and order.
Yep.
How can I wear a sari? I said, I'm going to wear the same as the men, but with the exception, because our culture is such that I will not wear a tucked in shirt, I will wear like a bush shirt.
Like a
Now
safari
even
suit
men are
or-
wearing that.
Yeah.
And that's how I designed my own uniform and, joined the police service
As an ASP.
as an ASP, Assistant Superintendent of Police.
And where was your first posting?
Interesting. I did my UT-ship in Jhelum,
Okay.
and from Jhelum, then my first posting was in Pindi.
Okay.
In Pindi, because I was a female, and wherever I would go, I would get the women police station also. So I was ASP headquarters, where I had the Pindi headquarters. I was also ASP women police station. I was ASP Sadar Beruni. Do you know Sadar Beruni?
Yes.
And Sadar Beruni also has Adiala jail in it.
Yes, I know.
And once the prison van fell off the bridge and all the prisoners fell down with the fetters on. They were hurt and we had to look for the prisoners, then we had to take them to hospital and have them, because of tetanus, we had to have them injected as well. This is part of the anecdote. It was not an anecdote at that time, it was a
But
worrisome
what
thing.
was the initial reaction of the, the Javans and the police?
Interesting.
officers
When I was
when
joining,
you
I was
joined,
apprehensive.
It was new for them.
I
also?
was apprehensive that will they take me seriously? I was in my mid 30s then. I was not ugly either, where I could say that. So I said, are they going to take me seriously? And then I'm going to deal with dacoits, with murderers. It's not a, they call it
Criminals.
drawing room, but you don't sit in the drawing room and have tea. It's the
Yeah.
worst strata of society which we have to deal with. Anyway, my SHO was, I didn't have any problems from the SHO. Public also took to me. My officers were my colleagues were slightly awkward with me because they didn't know what to do with a female. And the public, it was hilarious because people would look at me, I was wearing uniform, and they thought maybe there's a play going on, and they would fall off the stairs while looking at me. They were looking at me and going down the stairs, and this chap fell off in front of me. One chap walked right into the wall while I was looking into me, and things like that.
Yeah.
Then I would go to a meeting and people would stare at me for half an hour.
And was there any kind of resentment that why should we take orders from a female and why has she come?
You know what? Initially, people didn't know me.
Mhm.
And they thought I was just a pushover, I was just a young girl, they could tell me go left, go right.
Yeah. And then
When they
take
got
you for
to know
granted.
me, and one of the things was when I was in ASP headquarters, so this chap, we had sent our prison vans to be fixed. So he brought the van and he thought, she's just going to
doesn't
sign
know
the bill.
anything.
So I said, all right, get in the van with me. So I drove the van around, then I got on top of the van, I got into the van. And then when they said, the young ASP has come, and the minister would call me just to look at me. आपको मिनिस्टर साहब बुला रहे हैं, फलाने बुला रहे हैं, ये बुला रहे हैं, just to have a look at what has come.
Is there actually
I
a
was like
female?
somebody, in a zoo because everybody wanted to see me. And then the staff, the police staff decided that I was a pushover. There was a long line for leaves. They said, oh, ma'am has come, now we were all going on picnic. So this chap came up to me, and we used to have the reader as well, which is a British invention but very good. So the reader is always there with
Reader is like a staff officer?
Yeah, like a staff officer, and does. So this man came and he said, madam, I need leave. I've had this operation. And I said, all right, show me the operation.
Show me, the
Show me your
reports.
scar.
Okay.
And he just looked at me. I said, yes, I want to see that have you really had an operation or not. So I said, you lift up your shirt and show it to me.
Yeah.
And he just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I knew the reader was standing there, so he picked up his shirt. And then he went outside and he said, madam is taking people's clothes off. So you better, and I said, all right, next. And the next minute, the entire queue had disappeared. Disappeared.
They can't
After
take you
that,
for
I
a
had
ride.
no problems.
Okay. So it was just creating that example.
Yeah. After that, I had no problems because I was also doing a lot of things first.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
the motorway was inaugurated. I was in Jhelum. I went there, and when people saw a uniformed woman, so all the cameras sort of panned on me to
Because
see.
it was a new
It was
phenomenon.
something
No?
very
It was
new.
not
Now,
something.
mashallah, we have so many girls, and now
Yeah.
people are getting used to it.
Yeah. So, were you like growing up and then coming to? Were you a social person?
No.
Or were you? No, you were an introvert.
Yes. Well, if it's a 60-40 ratio of being 60% introvert and
Okay,
40%.
40%.
And throughout, when I joined, I joined and people would ask me, Madam, आपको कैसा लग रहा है मर्दों के साथ काम करना?
Huh.
I said, why don't you ask the men that?
Typical cliche question.
Because while I was being brought up, FAROOQ, I was not taught to differentiate. And that is how I moved forward fearlessly.
Okay. So you had that, and this was your father who had
My mother, basically.
your mother. She had that.
Yeah, I
instinct.
come from a line of female warriors.
Okay.
A long line of female warriors.
I'm sure the legacy will continue.
Yeah. And fearless women. Even women in Balochistan are fearless. You know, the conception is of being suppressed. Sometimes maybe, but generally they're fearless. The men will go out of the house, they will put a G3 there and go off to sleep at night and not bother. Somebody knocks, you pick up the G3 and fire.
Okay.
Ask questions later.
Ask questions later. Fire first. Did you get any kind of pushback from your family, your father specifically, he had been in bureaucracy, when you were switching from foreign service to police?
Yeah,
That,
yes.
You're in such a good service because people want to go into foreign service.
People didn't know, yes.
You travel the world and you
I
represent
was
Pakistan.
the least tactful or diplomatic.
Okay.
It's a diplomatic service,
Yes.
and I was totally undiplomatic. So I said, I'm in the wrong place.
Okay.
I need to be somewhere where I'm more, at home. And I was actually, naturally, God had made me absolutely fit, I was just fitting the police service to a T.
Okay, I understand. All right, okay. So you were made for it. You convinced
I
your
was
father.
built like that by birth, if I can use that
Fair enough.
term.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
so,
Because
I took to it like a duck takes to water.
this is what you wanted to be, and
Yeah,
you finally
probably.
achieved it. You were there. You felt.
There's divine intervention, there's divine planning also.
You felt in
We
the skin.
think we do it, but we don't.
Fair enough. And you managed your dad, and you told him that
My dad was not a problem.
not a problem. No. Okay, so initial days, yes, we've talked about, and how it was something new, and you were a head turner. Everyone would look at you and everything.
Yeah.
Once you got settled down, did you have that fear back in your mind that probably you would never or not be considered for a critical or an operational or a hard hitting kind of a role in the forces?
Definitely.
You had that
Yeah. You see, because it was a first for myself as well, and from the people sitting opposite me as well, my colleagues as well. Often they would tell me, if we've ordered a pizza, we're all colleagues sitting, Madam, can you please cut it? Just because I was this only female. So I said, fine. I had no insecurities.
Okay.
I took the pizza, cut it and gave it to them, here you are. But that didn't mean that I was a pushover.
Okay.
Not at all.
You made sure that your
Yes.
sanctity
Everybody
remained
knew that,
intact.
yeah. And Alhamdulillah, I got good postings, and because naturally, as I told you earlier off camera, that I had a family as well.
Yep.
So I had to balance all these 24/7 jobs, being a mother, being a wife, a housewife, and a police officer. So these are all 24/7 jobs. There is no time off.
No, and there's a very important lesson while we were talking off the record, and Helena told me that family is as important as your job, if not more.
Yes.
I want you to speak on that.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because very earlier on in my career, I thought that I might be very successful, but I don't want to come to an empty house. I want somebody to share my sorrow, somebody to share my happiness. And jobs are very fickle. One day you're there, the next day they'll kick you out and send you home. Family is the only thing which keeps you going. Yes.
So that's
They don't care who you are.
That's a very important lesson.
Yes.
By the way, got to mention and it's my apologies for that, in the beginning of the intro, that Helena is a Tamgha Imtiaz. She was awarded Tamgha Imtiaz. In fact, she got it this year on 23rd March 2024. And that's a great honor, recognition by the government of Pakistan. We are in conversation with the Iron Lady, Helena Saeed. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to Sky's the Limit with Syed FAROOQ Hassan. I'm in conversation with Helena Saeed. Helena, so we were talking about your service. You joined in JLM and then you moved on, you got different positions. And you told me that you had this at the back of your mind that probably you would not be considered for hardcore operational roles.
No, I didn't have it at the back of my mind, but that was a possibility.
Okay.
I wouldn't blame them either because it was something very new.
Okay.
So either side, my side and their side as well, I don't blame them.
Okay.
But eventually when they got to know me and when we sort of progressed, then I did get good jobs.
Okay.
I got good posting without any sifarish.
Without any sifarish. What was the most toughest assignment during your whole career that you got, in terms of operations or in terms of responsibility?
My UN assignment.
The UN
Because
assignment.
yes, it was in a war zone. And then I took it towards the end of my career, which was I took myself out of my comfort zone. We all tend to get into a comfort zone.
When you grow senior.
Senior, junior, it's a habit. Our habits on a daily basis, we don't want to break them. So they don't have clean drinking water.
Which place was this?
This was Sudan. Khartoum.
Khartoum.
I was the police commissioner there, and I was there for a year. And when I went there, I do appreciate my country all the time. I'm one of those people who is very nationalistic. I love my country, and I'm willing to do anything I can in order to improve it. We all need to join hands to improve this country and to help in the progress.
This is our identity.
But we take a lot of things for granted. Clean drinking water is also taken for granted.
Yeah, we take it for granted. You're absolutely right.
There it is a struggle to get clean drinking water.
It's a luxury.
It is a luxury. To get that, to get food, infrastructure was totally gone. Food was the shortage. So it was and then there were protests on a daily basis. We were sometimes in our homes for 6 days at a stretch, 7 days at a stretch.
Locked in a room.
Locked in a room, and we still were working.
Okay.
I remember I had COVID, I still worked throughout the COVID.
And these UN assignments, are they on recommendation or do you have to pass an exam or something?
No, I was on secondment from the government of Pakistan.
Secondment from government of Pakistan. So there must be a criteria to
Yes,
get...
there is.
There is.
A very long drawn process. It takes months.
Okay. So as a female, you mentioned that you had a prior knowledge of what kind of issues that women face specifically in our society, where police could be of assistance, better assistance. So when you joined the force, what were the major initiatives that you undertook specifically for women or public in general, for that matter?
Why I wanted to join the police, one, I thought this is the only service where you are in direct contact with people and you can help people.
Yeah.
Right? And I wanted to, basically I'm an idiot, naive idiot, even to this age. I still feel that we can do something good on a daily basis.
We can.
Because everything is not bad, neither is everything good, there's a mixture of both.
Yes.
So I used to believe that, I'm helpful by nature. And women, wherever there is, even if a man is being given injustice, I will definitely stand for the person. It's not a gender thing, it's basically injustice. So what I did was, wherever I went, I had the women police station. As I told you earlier, I started treating it as a shelter, and we kept on getting people during the night patrol. There were many women out on the roads.
So when you say shelter, you mean not all criminals were there?
No, as a halfway house. Like I told you earlier, for instance, there was this girl, young girl, maybe 12 years old, 10, 11, 12, in this age bracket. She decided one day, she got up from D.I. Khan, that I have to meet Shahid Afridi. And she got into the wagon.
She was a Shahid Afridi fan.
Yeah. Luckily, when she got to the bus stop, people noticed that she was all by her, and then the people brought her to the women police station. We questioned her, and I said, "Where are you going?" And then I wanted to scare her also so that she doesn't do it again. So then she said, if you send me back, they will kill me because I have left home. I said, no, we will talk to your parents. We had to trace her parents. We had to arrange her bus fare, and we had to convince her, the parents, and her as well. This is the kind of service we used to do. Anybody who was, we would trace, for instance, 3 little children, their mother scolded them, and the elder one was, I think, 11 years old. And they just got up from Faisalabad and got into a bus.
Ran away from home.
Yeah, they ran away from home. And then eventually they landed up at our police station. And they're small. And I said, and because most of it was reformation also. So I said, put them in the lockup. I wanted to scare them again so that they would not run away from their home. And the little one started crying. And then we paged the mother. She came over. And I said, well, now I'm sorry, I can't give you these kids because they have run away. So now their job is they have to clean the police station.
Okay.
And I scared them for a day or so, and then I decided when they had had enough, so I handed them over and I told the mothers, be careful, take them back.
Yeah. Okay. So it's
this is the kind of work
reformation of society.
Yes.
For that matter. And any specific women-oriented initiatives that you undertook?
We for our women police stations, we made creches, daycares. Okay. Because if a mother is not worried about her child, and the child is there, if you can feed the child, you can go in and have a look at the child, you are in much better frame of mind to perform better.
Okay.
And then I would give them flexi hours. I told them, this is the assignment. I want it done by, this is your last, bottom line. You cannot cross that.
Okay.
Now go and do it.
And I'm sure you must have been very useful in such tense situations where negotiations were to be held, because in our society primarily, people listen with calm nerves to a female. They respond more to a female officer.
I don't know. I don't have that. So? No, I don't think so.
No, it's the same.
No, because people used to tell me, madam, you're so, it's nice to have you because now, you have that empathy. I said, I do have the empathy, but I'm not, I'm not that type, the one you think I am, that I'm, different from men. I said, basically, I think like a man.
Okay. What was the pinnacle of your career where you thought that, okay, today this is what I wanted, exactly this is the assignment that I wanted? Which one was that?
None. I'm always thankful to Allah that He gave me a lot of opportunities. He gave me a lot of respect, recognition, without even thinking about it or asking for it.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to Him, and I always will be. I'm grateful for that. But the thing was, FAROOQ, I still remember very well, there was this gentleman, there was some money somebody took from him, and I was in Pindi, and he had no hope of that money ever coming back. So I got hold of that money for him. I put it in a bag and put it in front of him. So I said, "Ki ye aapke paise aap le jaye."
Someone had robbed him of that money?
Yes, there was some transaction, and he lost that money. And he just looked at me, and we didn't have a lot of mobile phones, because I wanted that expression of that man is etched in my memory to this day, because he just sat there waiting, expecting that I would ask for something. And there was a bag of money right in front of me.
So that satisfaction that you get is
So priceless. I said, "Why don't you pick it up? Why don't you take it?" And he just looked at me, as if, what is wrong with this woman? Yeah. I said, "This is yours, take it." And he just took it, and without any conditions, he just walked out of the office. And that I felt, my work is done here. Wherever I used to go to villages, people would say, send, and in those days it was send a PSP for the inquiry, not anymore. They used to say, send PSPs for inquiries, and we would walk for ages and ages. And then, we'd get to some village and then hold the inquiry, and they'd bring a broken chair and make us sit on that.
Okay. So quite an experience. tell me something more. You had 2 UN assignments?
No, just one.
Just one,
As
which was
police
towards the
commissioner.
end of your
Yeah,
career.
as police commissioner.
As police commissioner. And you were there for 3 years?
No, for a year.
For a year.
Ah.
And that was dealing with different nationalities, different...
Yes, I led the police advisory unit. Our job was to assist the Sudanese police force in capacity building.
Okay.
So we ran training programs for them. We helped them, supported them in capacity building.
Okay. I wanted to talk...
And both men and women police officers.
all genders.
Yes, yes.
I wanted to talk a bit more about your awards. You got one award from Canberra, Australia?
No, that, FAROOQ, that was, there's an International Association of Women Police.
Yeah.
Every year they float an award amongst, I think, how many countries are we in the world? 76?
Yeah.
Something like that, more or less. I'm not sure. And then you have to write to them and tell them why you deserve this award. So in, I think it was 2000, I wrote to them why I deserve the award, and they gave it to me amongst the 76 countries.
Okay.
So that was
those
Policewoman
76
of the
must
Year
have
award.
been the registered ones, otherwise there are more than...
They're more than
76
that.
countries in
But
the world.
in those days, 76
Must be registered, yeah.
Ah.
Okay.
So they gave me that award. Then I got the Fatma Jinnah medal. Mr. Shaukat Aziz gave it to me.
Okay.
Then I got the UN medal for serving in the UN.
So you got Tamgha Imtiaz this year, right? And besides that, you were recognized by Excellency Shaukat Aziz, as you mentioned.
I got the Fatma Jinnah medal.
Yeah.
I got the UN police medal.
Yeah.
And Tamgha
Now,
Imtiaz.
Tamgha Imtiaz,
Yeah.
mashallah. Great. That's you're a very decorated officer for that matter. Very few police officers get the luck or chance to win so many medals, and God has been kind to you for that matter. Helena, you served in National Police Bureau also.
Yes.
I want you to highlight what actually does, what's the scope of National Police Bureau, and what were the initiatives that you worked on there?
National Police Bureau is like a secretariat for the police service.
Okay.
In my opinion, underutilized. I was the director of the gender crime cell there, and our work was with gender. And while we were there, we formed a gender police strategy, and then we came up with the gender audit. We had a joint program with GIZ, the German company. And then we formed a national police network. There was an international one which we did not, we weren't able to, propagate that properly. But the National Police Network, where the women police in Pakistan are part of that network as a support platform.
Okay.
And then we introduced the gender responsive policing project there.
Gender responsive policing.
Policing project,
Okay.
which ran for 6 years. And now under that, there were a lot of training programs, there were a lot of workshops, there was national police conferences. And what we tried to do was integrate male officers with female officers and give the women a platform where they are heard. They can air their views, and to train them to think, to ponder, to air their views, to move forward. Initially, when we had the first training conference, their attention span was very short. They were not paying attention. They would just keep on going here and there and having tea. And at the end of the project, was 3 or 4 years, we saw that there was a 3-day training conference, and the entire
Audience.
yes,
crowd.
was totally attentive, interactive, and we had male officers as well there. So that was the progress that we achieved, that from being totally unconcerned to being totally concerned about their prospects, their progress, their career trajectory. They were on board. And then we took them for international conferences as exposure visits.
Okay.
We attended conferences in Kabul, Dhaka, and Australia.
Okay.
So we took,
So good international exposure.
yes, we took our lady officers with us.
Sure. So in our society, since it's very, it's very close, having a relative or a friend or a sibling in law enforcement agency, calls for a lot of people to approach you and to be, decide the case in their favor, or, some safarish, for that reference, for that matter. So how did you deal with that?
You know what? It was a work in progress. I remember my father, Allah Bakshe, he sent me only one sifarish in his entire life. I didn't even listen to that.
You didn't listen to that?
No, I didn't listen to that.
And your father still talked to you after that?
Yeah, he did. He's a great man. And then when I was in the traffic, we launched the Islamabad Model Traffic Police.
Yeah.
Nobody was above the law.
Mm-hmm.
And I even fined my own husband and picked up all his office cars from his office parking lot, which were not in the right place.
Really?
Yeah. And this entire office was angry because your wife has taken our cars away. She's impounded our vehicles. And she is, I would not spare anybody.
Ah.
It was very easy. So once you, it's called Gurba Kushtin Roze Awal. Once you set, nobody wants to come in.
And you were like that till the end of your career. Yeah. Wow, awesome.
But there's a price always to pay for that.
Obviously, you would offend a lot of people.
Yes, you decide, and with pleasure. You decide that you have to follow this path, and then you help, you ask for divine help. Nobody but divine help.
And divine help comes.
Yes.
Sure.
My big boss is Allah.
Subhanallah. So tell me, what was the most unforgettable incident during your career? Anything that you remember?
FAROOQ, there have been many.
Okay. Any unpleasant incident?
Unpleasant, many.
Many.
Yeah.
So you don't want to spare.
Unpleasant, many. Like I told you, these small people getting used to me, people staring at me. And
but any encounter with a criminal or someone?
Yes, there was this.
Someone threatening you.
There were threats also, and obviously I had to send somebody. I have sent many people to jail, and then they would issue threats, and then because then I would tell my children's school people that other than me, don't handle it. Once my husband went to take my daughter from school, they refused to give him the child. They said, we don't know who you are.
Oh, okay.
And then he rang me up. He said, they're not giving me that. I said, this is what happens when you don't go to school often. So, and then we had to lead a low profile, and there were many places I wanted to take my children, but I could not.
Could not because
for security fears.
Okay, okay.
And then once we got told, I think he was an Afghan murderer. He was like a butcher. He slaughtered many people. And that was in Sadr Biruni, and they sent me there. And before I went to interrogate, there was a journalist who went in. He was a big Pathan, about 6 foot tall. When he came out, he was pale. That man was pale. And I said, what happened? He said, he says that when I get off and I'm free, then I'm going to come for you then. And he was a butcher. And he was he was a wiry, short person, but very strong. So it's basically psychological. Then I thought to myself, I said, what am I going to do which is going to scare him into confessing? Anyway, I went in, I talked to him. He did confess partially. We got the murder weapon. We went to his house, and he had thrown it in the well. So we needed to take it out of the well. So we took one of these, the speaker, they have a magnet. So we put the magnet down the well with a rope. And the knife stuck to the magnet, and we pulled it up.
Wow, that's a very indigenous way of doing things. Huh? Great, awesome. So, Helena, what are you doing now? Now that you've retired, what are your plans?
Now
writing a book or what?
On management committee of a few organizations.
Okay.
I don't want to do 9 to 5, but I'm sort of
freelancing, consultancy.
And then with a colleague of mine, we go to girls' colleges and schools.
Okay.
The government ones, not the private ones.
Okay.
Where the access is less. And we give them lectures on women empowerment. And we tell them, look, if we can do it, so can you.
Lead by example.
As examples. And we give them career counseling. And you may give them a pep talk, so that there's such a lot of talent in this country.
Have you ever thought of writing a book?
I just might.
You should actually. There's so much of experience going in. And you're first in so many things. You've paved the way for young female officers to go to higher places.
Yeah, now when I look, it's just like watching my own children.
Yeah.
And now we're almost at 2%. When I was there, it was just myself and the constabulary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Helena, before we wrap up, I'd like you to give a message to all our youngsters who are watching you right now and all the audience for that matter. What would you like to say?
Giving a message these days is difficult because we are evolving in a strange direction.
Yeah.
We refuse to work hard. We are not nationalistic. And we are a shortcut nation. We love to take shortcuts. You will often see people just a little distance, they will not go the right way, they will go in the wrong way,
yes.
one way.
And without realizing what kind of
With
an accident
impunity.
Yeah.
The worst part is they don't even feel that they've done something wrong.
They will defend it for that matter. If you stop them, they'll defend it. Then
Yes.
who are you?
So, in a culture which is crumbling around our ears, what advice? And the worst part is, the young person of today thinks that he doesn't need any advice. They're much more intelligent than we were at their age. I give them that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean there is no substitute for experience.
Absolutely. But hope is still there. It should
Our
be.
religion teaches us hope.
Yeah.
We cannot lose hope. When we get up in the morning, what is it that keeps us going? Hope. If you got up in the morning, you had nothing to look forward to, what would you do?
Yeah.
How would you motivate yourself?
True.
So, to our young people, I would say, please work hard.
Yeah. No shortcut to success.
Please work hard and practice your religion. We are not Muslims anymore. We have the best guidebook sent
Quran,
by Allah
Holy
Ta'ala
Quran.
Himself.
Yeah.
Please read it. In whichever language you find convenient, read it and follow it.
Fair enough.
If you do that, your life is successful. If you don't, you think you are successful, but not in the long run.
Fair enough, Helena. I think that's very well said. And what I gather from your talk is that you need to believe in yourself, right? And you need to have principles in your life. And there are so many guidelines for that, and Holy Quran for that matter. And we need to own our country.
Oh,
This
yes.
is our
It's a beautiful
identity.
country.
It's a beautiful country. Our, like seniors have given a lot of sacrifices to get us this independence. And we need to guard it and pass it on to the next generation.
I am proud to be a Pakistani. I am a proud Pakistani.
Absolutely, same here. And all of us for that matter, in our hearts, yes, we are. Maybe we are not very expressive, but yes, absolutely we are. Helena, it has been such a pleasure talking to you. And, I tried to cover as much of your success story. And I know you have a long way to go now. You're going to write a book and share your experiences.
Well, I don't mind dictating the book to you if you're going to write it.
I don't mind. But thank you so very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of this episode of Sky's the Limit. Inshallah, I'll see you with another guest in another episode of Sky's the Limit. Till then, Allah Hafiz.